going to be fun because we have literally not spoken in so long.
Yeah. I mean, have I seen you since we did Fabulous?
No.
I don't think so.
No, I don't.
So that was 2009, end of 2009 we finished that?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's quite a long, lots happened since then.
Okay, let's so hello. Today we are here with Seke how do you say your last name?
Chimutengwende.
Chimutengwende.
Yeah.
So we're here with Seke Chimutengwende. It's a beautiful name, but I don't think I've ever had to say it out loud.
Yeah.
Like you just said, we met in 2009 when we both worked for Fabulous Beast.
Yeah.
Which feels like a long time ago, but also for me feels very close and relevant. But since then, I've got to know you from a distance. I've been in Sweden and you've been here in London, and you have been prolific in your work as a performer, as an improviser, as a choreographer. How do you describe yourself today? Like, how do you like to do this sort of like introduction? Hello.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I mean, it's a little bit difficult to describe. I guess I do a lot of different things, and the balance between the different things that I do shifts quite a bit from one year to the next, and it's often not very much in my control, how much time I spend on certain things. But I guess I do sort of three main things. I make my own work, and sometimes that's choreography and sometimes that's improvisation. And I've been doing that, choreographing I've been doing since about 2011, improvising since about 2006. So that's one of the things that I do. And then I also perform a lot in other people's work, and I've been doing that since 2004. At the moment I'm working a lot with Forced Entertainment.
I saw
theatre company, experimental theatre company. I've been doing that for about 5 years. I used to work, we met with Fabulous Beast, and I used to work with Deviate and Lost Dog and lots of different companies. And then the other thing that I do is teach. Teach at the place and Rombe School and anywhere that will have me.
It's been really nice landing back in London, because when I've done these with different people, often your name comes up as like, oh, you must do this with Seke. Seke is so amazing, so creative, so funny, such a great person to talk to, and I think I always had you on my list because of Fabulous Beast and because of seeing you from afar and being sort of curious in that space you found for yourself here, like you say, anywhere that will have you. But I think it's definitely that people really appreciate and respect what you're doing. So the next kind of question is really like, what are you busy with, and maybe what are you going to share with me today? Like, what is the specific thing that we could do together, like a flavor or a taste of where you're at and what you're interested in? The thing that I was thinking to share today is that I'm making a show. It's called The Last Quartet. And it's going to be on in the autumn. It's going to be on at the Place and at Wainsgate in Hebden Bridge and Lancaster and maybe some other places. And it's a show that I've been working on for ages. With lots of big gaps in between. So I think I started working on it at the beginning of 2023. For many reasons, partly schedules and partly funding setbacks. It's finally happening in September.
premiering. So it's been a very drawn out process and fragmented process.
And is it people that you're working with, or is it?
Yeah, so it's a group piece. It's it's called the Last Quartet, although some people say it's a quintet because there's 5 people on stage.
Right.
There's 4 dancers. So there's me, Charlie Ashwell, Temi Ajose, and Matthias Sperling. We're the 4
lovely.
dancers. And then Jamie McCarthy is playing live music, his own music. The piece started because I guess it was a kind of desire to be in a certain kind of piece that I wasn't getting invited to perform in.
Right.
So it's like, well, this is the kind of thing I want to do. It's not so much the kind of thing I would make, but it's the kind of thing I want to do. I mean, I do want to make it, obviously, but it's more kind of like, this is the kind of thing that I wish someone would ask me. That's how it started. I wish somebody would ask me to be in this kind of piece. So it's partly that, and partly a desire to work with those people. They're all people that I've known for a long time. I mean, Temi I've known since 1999 we met, and Jamie 2001. So
and was that
really
important
long.
Since this was not your usual way of working?
Perhaps, I mean, in a way, it's not that it's that different from how I...
Right, okay.
I mean, in a way, all the pieces are quite different from each other in terms of how I work. I would say, this piece... all I knew at the beginning was I wanted to work with these people. I wanted to... to those dancers and Jamie's music. And I didn't want to work with any set material, as in sequences of movement.
Yeah.
So that was something that I wanted to do. And I also didn't want to work with text or voice.
Oh, nice.
So those were that was kind of the starting point. And then as we very quickly, or maybe even before we got into the studio, I started thinking about this poem called The 4 Quartets by T.S. Eliot, which was written around the Second World War, and it's one of the big themes in that poem is endings and beginnings, and endings and beginnings being sort of the same thing, or like an ending being an opportunity to begin, or a beginning being an opportunity to end. And I think something, as soon as I started making choreography, I had this feeling that, with the first piece I made, I kind of thought, oh, this is great, but this might be the last time I ever get to do this.
Yes.
And so that's always a sort of feeling for me around performing and choreographing. So, maybe this is it. And it feels more and more like that, also because of the way the world is, really. You sort of think, well, I'm doing this now, but who knows what could happen, tomorrow, kind of thing. So so I had this idea of like, maybe this is my last piece, or like, and in a way kind of only semi-seriously, like I don't think it is going to be my last piece. I hope it isn't. I don't want it to be. But I was also thinking, well, what if this was my last piece? What would that be? And I sort of thought, well, it's sort of stripping everything away and just letting movement speak for itself, and let our experiences of moving and our histories of movement within the groups kind of be the sort of source of material and the kind of palette we're working with. We don't need any sequences of movement. We don't really need any complicated scores or structures. So it's a very simple piece, or it is at the moment. It's 4 of us entering and exiting the space. We have few quite simple and open instructions that we're working with. And then Jamie is actually playing an existing piece of music that he wrote when his brother passed away. Okay. So it's sort of written for him, and it's a structured improvisation. So what he's doing is in a way kind of more fixed than what we're doing, but it's still improvised. But it's quite interesting that it's something that kind of predated us working on the piece, and it's actually something that we spoke about years ago, because Jamie writes these really long and kind of slow pieces of music, and he also writes a lot of music for dance performances, but they tend to be kind of little shorter bits of music. So this was a kind of, he was like, I'd really like somebody to choreograph something to one of these longer pieces. So this is sort of a coincidental kind of.
So how long is it? Can I ask?
So the performance is probably going to be about 50 minutes. The Jamie's music can last as long as you want. So
right.
it could go on, for hours. Yeah. And we did talk about doing a sort of durational version, but that's not.
But 50 minutes is still a good.
50 minutes is quite long.
Entering, exiting, pure dancing,
Yeah, and I think for me for me, I'm always sort of drawn to things if I feel like, I guess a combination of like, I don't know, do you think we could we manage this? I'm not sure. Like that feels interesting. If I'm like, I don't know if I can really do that. And also sort of, maybe it's the same thing, but I'm also kind of feeling of like, can I get away with that? Like, can we get away with this as a choreography? Like, does this count? I'm not sure. Like, I mean, I think it does, but it's not kind of simple to me. And that, I feel like, I guess I like making things that feel risky, sort of, to me, where I'm like, there's some kind of doubt for me in it. So I'm talking
that's
a lot.
Nice. No. I'm just thinking. I'm listening to the ambience.
Yeah.
And but today.
Yeah.
Specifically, we're in a kind of strange situation, as you probably hear. We have kids running around, and we're outside. Partly because we struggle to find a space to meet. So we're going to try and work in the public dance floor of Sadler's Wells East and do something there. What are you thinking, like, exactly?
Well,
okay, so we've moved space. We're actually on the dance floor now, making ground. And you were going to just describe a little bit, like, exactly what we're going to do specifically. So this is, what I thought to propose was the warm-up that we always do when we're rehearsing the last quartet. And it's a score that I explained beforehand. It's got a few different instructions. The main one is the future is contained in the past. Okay.
So it's a statement.
The future is contained in the past.
And it's a kind of paraphrasing of a line from the T.S. Eliot poem, the Four Quartets. So the future is contained in the past. We don't really, it's not one of those things where, like, we've sort of really agreed what it means, or where I have a very clear idea of what it means. But it's something we work with, and I guess I'm thinking about, you could say archive, or personal histories of movement, really, of moving, not so much like history of, I don't know, like personal stories, but like just the fact of having moved a lot in your life in all kinds of ways. So that history is going to inform the future, or that past is going to inform what happens now. So the future is contained in the past. And then during the period of doing this, there's a moment where individually you reset. And again, I don't know what that means necessarily. It could mean something different every time that we do it. But there's a moment of reset. It could be a moment of rest or a moment of kind of actively thinking or
and we
not
individually
thinking.
choose
So that happens
ourselves.
whenever you want. It could be after, almost straight away. It could be near the end. You might forget to do it, or you might realize you've done it without planning to do it. That happens quite often, I think. So the future is contained in the past. There's a moment of reset, and the warm-up ends with a transformation of some kind. So it transforms at the end.
Okay.
And then all the time that you're moving, you're noticing how things change. Or noticing change. The future is contained in the past, a moment of reset. It ends with the transformation, and all the time noticing how things change. That's what we've been trying. Yeah.
That sounds enough to go on. And how do we measure time in this?
Well,
do we just
normally? Actually, I was thinking that we normally do it either with Jamie playing for an agreed period of time, or if he's not there, occasionally I've just put on a piece of music. And we could do this for as long as you want. Well, not within reason, but. I mean... But
maybe we do no longer than half an hour.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, we normally do somewhere between 20 minutes and 40 minutes. I don't think we've done it longer than 40 minutes. And it does take some time to get into, I would say. So.
And that's perfect.
Yeah.
The reset, the future is in the past.
Yeah.
And a transformation at the end.
Yeah.
This is super clear.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Cool.
Seke.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go do this and we'll come back and we'll discuss what happened after in this quite unique space.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Seke.
Yeah, thank you.
So now it's just a free conversation, but already I'm sort of full with so many qualities. What I really enjoyed was that the score, the warm-up proposal, it's quite open in a lot of ways. However, it really pushed me to deal with, I think, creation in a sort of really pure sense. Firstly, there I am dealing with the past and the future, and I'm finding myself finding the past after the fact, almost, recognizing things which perhaps I thought didn't necessarily have a strong connection, and there's this sort of strange conversation, and then towards the end, I can say my transformation, then it's really begging the question of, so then where is my past then? What is this place? For me, I really felt like I came to a nowness, a being in the present, a being in the moment. Which was really, transformative. How was it for you? Because of course this was a strange space as well. So there's also an element of difference, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, it's not something that I have done in public. that score.
No.
So that was interesting. I think, and also I haven't done it for ages. But yeah, I think, I mean, I had a similar experience because I thought, actually, when we normally, I think always when I've done this, there's been a clock, so I know what time it is.
Right.
And I was like, when am I going to do the transformation? Then I was like, it doesn't matter. And then very near the end, I was like, I have transformed.
Yes.
And kind of in the same way that I just felt much more present than at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it was it wasn't so gradual. It did feel like a kind of something sort of clicked at a certain point, which was quite near the end. And I suddenly felt like, I think what I sort of want to avoid is this feeling that I'm composing or trying to be clever or trying to be impressive or trying to evoke something or trying to create some sort of pattern that's legible from the outside or the inside. Not that any of those things are, I mean, I definitely do all of those things when I'm improvising in other situations, but for this I sort of feel like I just want to be, I guess for me, part of it is that the suggestion of the future is contained in the past, is that I've done that already. The composition has been taken care of. I don't need to like intellectually sort of think up things to do or like, I could go over to that part of the space now or introduce this kind of dynamic or the only reason I would consciously do that kind of thing is to kind of get more into my physicality, but not to kind of create an effect. But anyway,
But also, for me, that exists in the past. Those tools, those tropes, those codes, those modes, those qualities of attention. And I think that's what's really interesting is then exactly because it's in the future, something is transformative in placing it there, that it becomes sort of displaced in a way that it has the possibility to, for it to already be composed, as you say, like it has, it's already existing, and it's just to be lived, to sort of be present with almost. Something really beautiful about that.
Yeah. And I guess also for me in this work, it's like, I feel like we're, the people in it are kind of on the older side of dance. And, you know, we're probably like performing less than we used to. Like Temi's sort of moving into being a therapist and not performing as much. And we're sort of, I think there's a question, well, I don't know, there's loads to say about it, but I think, you know, one thing is that I feel like a lot of dancers that I know sort of have this feeling that like maybe they're not quite good enough, or like, you know, there's that kind of feeling in dance often that you're not, you know, however amazing you might be, some people often
how many years you've been doing
and
it.
Actually it's often kind of related, like sort of the more experienced you are, the more you doubt your own sort of abilities, I think, maybe. But also I think as, you know, as you get older, or I don't know, for me, I sort of think, like I'm definitely not as fit as I used to be. I'm not as, I don't practice as much, don't train as much. Can I still do this? And so that's sort of, you know, like just kind of even, you know, it was actually really interesting to do it in a public space, because those questions kind of come up in a different way, because you sort of think, you know, I'm just some weird guy, like, you know, some weird dad who's like moving in a weird way in this quite sort of fancy building. And it's like, you know, what is that?
I mean, it was a unique situation, you know, in so many ways, because it's not public 100% right.
Yeah.
It's an extremely exposed dance floor, or I would argue the way we were using it, dance studio. And you have a cafe which is very visible. There is windows on all sides, so there are public sort of walking by, and then there are people walking in the auditorium, so in the foyer, passing by and things, and some stop, some look, and I feel there's some recognition of it being dance and not dance, and then, but for me, one thing that clicked at some moment, which was really partly because of this strange space, was I was starting to see the movements in the public and the forms and the shapes. There was something really nice, like equalizing about the transformative moment, I think, at the end, because it sort of framed their positioning as like, oh, this will only exist now. Like there's a uniqueness, like this movement, this body in this place, because that's how I was starting to feel with my own movement, was that the nowness is making it extremely special. So even if I recognize its past in what I'm doing, the presence of it now is extremely special and different. This sort of cliche, like nothing's ever the same. Everything is new, and yet everything is repeated as well. But to have the body of the public, or the public body, which isn't trying to be present in a way, and seeing its presence was really sort of extremely special and bizarre.
Because we were sort of embedded into the context in quite a particular way. Like you said, it's not like just a foyer where we happen to be dancing. It's like a demarcated space, and there'd just been a class before, so there was a sense of, this space has a purpose, which is to dance. There was a movement around us constantly.
And I didn't feel like people felt obligated to watch or invited to watch. Like that contract was sort of unclear. Like it was a semi-private space because of the demarcation. Very strange. Very unique. And somehow I kind of enjoyed it. It was something very special. But I think in tandem with this practice, actually, it really elevated my awareness of that transformation, the contractual difference and uniqueness of the space, perhaps. But you work a lot with improvisation in general. So I kind of wanted to ask this before, because I know with those works, or at least as I think, that you work with text and sound. So how is that differing now? Like, where do you find yourself choreographically or improvisationally, in terms of this work and what you're working with here?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm sort of going in sort of two different directions, or I feel like I'm sort of stretching my practice in different ways. So I guess so I perform a lot of solo improvisations, and there's no structure, there's no score, but I tend to work a lot with text in those. I'm talking a lot. And
then is it like stream of consciousness, or
I'd say it's a mix
conversational?
It's a mix of kind of storytelling. They tend to be very theatrical. There's kind of an element of comedy, I would say, stand-up comedy, an element of poetry, sort of stand-up poetry, and I'm moving as well, dancing, but I don't sort of necessarily consider those sort of dance pieces. I mean, I'd say in terms of what you receive as a kind of audience, the text is as important as the movement, maybe sometimes more. And I guess, I've been doing longer and longer solo improvisation. So, doing an hour sometimes now, hour-long performance. And that feels really like a completely different kind of, or not completely, but very different proposition to what we've been doing. And I am kind of composing a lot in those and kind of trying to create a show where there is none. So it's very different. And then I guess, also in other parts of my working artistic life, like I'm working with Forced Entertainment, who are a theatre company. So I feel like I'm kind of moving even more into this kind of text, theatrical thing, and also at the same time moving more and more into kind of pure movement, if you can, it's for want of a better term, but like, I'm kind of interested in that. And also in some of the other choreographic work I'm making, I'd say I'm moving more and more into working with set material.
Wow.
So I'm sort of like, I would say at the moment I'm kind of interested in like the kind of
everything
going further and further in sort of different directions. And it's sort of reactionary in some way, like because you were with so much text that you wanted that more pure dance space, like more defined, or more angled maybe, or pointed somehow. I'd say in terms of my own kind of performing as a performer, I feel like I've done quite a lot of things that are quite sort of hybrid. And I'm sort of keen to kind of dig deeper into stuff. I feel like maybe not everything, but definitely a chunk of performing things I've done, I feel like, well, this is not really dance, and it's not really theatre, and it's not really, in terms of what I was doing specifically, not necessarily the work itself, but, and that's sometimes fine, but I feel like I kind of want something a bit unsatisfying about some of it, maybe. So I'd say that. And then I think in terms of making, I guess it's not quite the same. I'd say
I feel like I'm putting you on the spot a little bit.
No, I think it sort of depends a bit on the context,
of course,
I think. And what I'm being kind of what contexts come up, and so I sort of make things in relation to, and also there's many things that I want to do and have tried to do that haven't worked out. So that is the whole kind of shadow side of one's practice, where it's like, oh, I'm really into this, but I never get a chance to do it. So, but it's something about and I think actually maybe to do with this, the last quartet, I feel like I kind of don't want to know too much about what I'm making, and I don't really want to know too much about what, in this. So one way to deal with that is to like make something not be in it. Give the performers some provocations or structures or tasks that they have to deal with, and they deal with it in the way they want to, and I don't fully understand what they're doing. And with this, I sort of felt like I don't want to make a really complex score, because then I'll know what everyone's trying to do. And I'll have a kind of embodied experience of it as well. So I sort of feel like the sort of stripped backness of it is partly me not really wanting to know, what is Matthias doing right now? I don't want to know. Or what's Charlie up to? I don't know. It's like I just want to. I want it to be mysterious to me.
And And in a way, like, do you then, because I mean, the score holds that space that you can sort of, or at least relate to structures, practices that are like in your past, in your, at least in this warm-up that we did, you know, the thing that maybe brings you to where you start to create and so on. And do you also try to avoid talking too much, like what we're doing now, where we're sort of picking at it? Like, is there an avoidance of that, or is that, do you allow a little bit of that?
Yeah, it's interesting because we do talk a lot, actually. Yeah, and I mean, there's a whole other element to the piece, that there's another kind of structure going on over this, where we're entering and exiting the space, and there's a couple, well, at least two other sections that don't quite follow this score. So there's a lot of other things in a way, or not a lot, but there's other things to talk about. But yeah, we do talk a lot. I guess we don't sort of talk in the way of like, you know, with stuff like the future is contained in the past. I don't feel like we need to agree on what that means. But so we're not talking in that kind of way of like, well, what does this actually mean? What exactly should we be doing? But it's a certain kind of trust, and I think you know, if it was a slightly different group of people, we probably would have come up with a totally different score, and it would have gone in a completely different direction. So,
or at least its articulation would be
exactly
specific, right, to them.
So I think it's very dependent on the group of people who happen to be doing it, which is always the case.
I wanted to talk about the reset, because I've been speaking about the transformation and then the future, the past being in the future, but in the reset, and actually maybe this is also a way of talking a bit about that shift from studio improvisation, studio practice, like a warm-up, like we did today, which was sort of corrupted perhaps a little bit, to performance, like how you're relating to the transition from not being seen to being seen, and how that affects the work you're doing, because and tying it with the reset, because for me it really there was something really wonderful about the reset as a thing of like getting me away from my behavioral sort of normal ways of like coping with the situation, you know, like it was really nice to have that. And there will be a moment when I reset, I start again, and it provided this beautiful ability to go, okay, that's what I was doing, now I'm going to come at it from a different angle, because you can always do that within, but it's not quite the same as just somehow like wiping it off and then stepping back in. So that was really beautiful. I felt as like a prompt.
I mean, I want to I don't know how to explain it. I guess I feel like I don't know how to say this. I guess I want to say that I don't want to feel like I don't want to depend on things like adrenaline, inspiration, getting carried away, a certain feeling in the room, the audience, co-performers, like I mean, those things can happen and be brilliantly helpful,
And probably will happen,
and
right? Inevitably.
normally happen. But you don't want, I feel like I don't want to rely on that as a sort of thing that I'm like waiting for. Okay, I just need to be in the right mood, or I just need to have the right audience, or just the right kind of energy. It's like, because what if it's not there? Then what happens? Does it fail?
Right.
And maybe, failure is part of it, but I kind of think maybe before I kind of want to sort of check myself.
Yeah.
I guess, and that's part of the reset. I think. Yeah, and it's also like I sort of feel like, it also feels in relation to that, the reset to me feels like a bit of a question. Like, what is a reset in this? What does that even mean? Like, I mean, today I just lay down.
Yeah.
But I was also thinking, and then I was like, well, what? I can't even remember what I have done before in that moment. So, and I think. To me, it's sort of interesting, to find a structure or a score like this and think, okay, that's what I came up with on day one. Let's just keep doing that. Why do I need to... I don't know if is it in Buddhism? There's this like first thought, best thought idea. It's like, well, that's what we did on day one.
Yeah.
Why are we going to... That's probably means that it's the right thing to... to do, and kind of like, maybe if we keep doing it 100 times, then we'll figure out what it means or something. But
no, that's really nice. And it what you said about those not relying on certain conditions, like you say adrenaline and stuff, that kind of answers my question of like that bridge. So in a way you're always working to feel secure in what you have, regardless of what happens, in a way. And then those influences are perhaps only additions to what is already established. Which yes. So how, like you were saying, how more aged dancers, you're working with this sort of like where you are in your career and life, and you were speaking about doing a lot of text and acting, and then finding these spaces for more dancing. So can I ask, how has it differed? Like, what's occurring in a way, so to speak?
You mean at this sort of moment?
Yeah,
for me?
What is the dancing now? I think really specifically. Because I recognized Seke when I got to look at you a little bit, which was really nice. And I was like, it's such beautiful timing and composition and use of physicality and tonality. Like, it's very specifically you, and there's something really beautiful about that. And it was nice to be in such close proximity to it again after so long. So I guess I'm curious how you feel it's changed from within.
I mean, like maybe everyone, I feel like I've gone through really different sort of phases of relating to dancing. I think, I started sort of late in quotation marks, like, I started training full time at Lewisham College when I was 20, and then I went to the place when I was 22, did the BA, so that's sort of, supposedly quite late.
How old were you when you were in DV8?
So DV8 would have been about 27, 28-ish. So, and I wasn't like someone who'd done loads of like sports and gymnastics, and so I was kind of like a sort of skinny, unfit guy who was like, I'm going to become a dancer. Not very flexible, found it very difficult to pick up sequences of movement, didn't have much going for me really, but I was like, I want to do this. I guess like I just sort of constantly felt like I was not good enough and not as good as everyone else in my class, and had that kind of so I think that's sort of been something. And then
so you feel a lot more confident now you can appreciate it in a greater way. You're not self-doubting perhaps as much, or?
In some ways, I feel like I don't care as much about that kind of thing. Like, I know I'm not an amazing ballet dancer, or like that's obvious, never going to happen, or whatever, you know.
I mean, that's sort of what we're asked to do often, or at least the sort of presumption that you should take a ballet class, and then it's like, what, to be good? I mean,
I like ballet and whatever, but or whatever kind of skillful. I'm not an amazing hip hop dancer or whatever it is, and I think I also, there was definitely a sort of time in my like late 30s where I sort of, or mid 30s even, where I was like, oh, okay, I'm just not dancing as much and I'm not as fit. And that was really like noticeable. And then I was like, okay, I'm just going to like do, I'm not going to try and be good. And then, I don't know, something sort of shifted, I think, a bit later. I think, I don't know if it was probably partly doing some workshops with Deborah Hay.
Oh, wow.
Had a big impact on me, and just sort of thinking like, I guess sort of thinking, I can still train and be technical in whatever way as best as I can in the whatever the limitations are. It's not about like giving up or giving in to something. So I mean, I wish I was able to dance a lot more than I do. For sure. But I don't necessarily wish I was better, if that makes sense. Whereas that's something that feels like a newish thing to feel. It's like, it's not about being better, it's just about being present, and presence just comes through doing it. It's not any kind of magic. Like doing what we just did for half an hour, by the end of it I'm like, oh, I'm more present. Okay. It's not magic, it's not rocket science, it's just simple. I don't know. So
and there's a relationship there, of course, to governance, which is something you mentioned on your website. I read that you have an interest in governance and authorship, and there was another third of the triad, hierarchy, of course. But of course, governance is such a interesting phenomena as a dancer, partly because of this, because I recognize it in myself, your story, not being good enough, and this thing of you're being governed by the outside, of being told what to do as a sort of directive to learn how to dance. And then there's the sort of self-governing, that's this self-talk all the time, like, oh, I'm not doing it right, I'm not doing it well enough, I don't know what is good, I don't know what is bad. And then there is, and yet at the same time, there's something in dancing which is indifferent to governance it entirely. It is that sort of just being present, and there's a freedom almost, for want of a better word, but like a release from the sort of the assumptions of hierarchy and domination, maybe, like that we can exist and be in ourselves, wherever we may be, and be content with that, not having to relate to some sort of order or structure or notion of hierarchy in a way. There's something really, at least for me, beautiful in that.
I mean, I think dance is a sort of interesting art form, because it feels like, in some ways, it feels like it's I want to say it's like the most subversive art form.
Yeah.
That maybe that's a ridiculous claim, but it's like, yeah, the fact that it's really about physicality and bodies, and it's really hard to explain it, and it's quite difficult to kind of intellectualize it. It's sort of like raw kind of feeling, and yeah, it's dependent on depends on the body, or on a body, on bodies in such a particular way that, yeah, I think other art forms, you can get around it, you can get around the body, maybe. I don't know. Maybe this is a ridiculously
no, it's
a general claim,
like it,
but then, you know, at the same time, I feel like the dance world itself is obviously full of all the hierarchies and abuses that the rest of the world has. And sometimes, you know, in quite extreme ways, you know, even by everyday standards. It can be very abusive, and I've definitely experienced that, coercive, and, you know, and dangerous as well. Like people, you know, are asked to do things that are physically harmful to themselves and forced to. So, yeah, and not, you know, not even in kind of more radical dance spaces, not only in sort of conservative ones, but so yeah, so there's a sort of tension there for me, and I think sometimes also the sort of dance, I don't want to say the dance world, but kind of dance cultures, I feel like sometimes they kind of they sort of work against sort of thinking and discussion and analysis, and in a way that I think is bad. Like I kind of like that it sort of transcends that stuff. But then at the same time, sometimes I feel like, actually, I think we could like be a bit more rigorous here in our thinking about what's going on. So yeah, that's a real tension, I think. But I guess I've just like, I think from like the beginning, I've just been fascinated by process, and like and part of that is like, how do you work with other people? And not in a kind of like, you know, mission to, you know, be nice or extremely nice or whatever, but just as like a kind of, I don't know, it's a sort of interesting, I don't know, intellectually interesting question. Like, how, you know, if you've got a room full of people, how do you negotiate that? If you're making a show, how do you negotiate that? If you've got an audience, what are the ethics of that? And I guess I mean I'm sort of coming from that, not from a kind of safeguarding point of view. I mean, you know, that is very important, but more from a kind of artistic sort of interest. Like, well, what is that? What does it mean to like to be in a group for a period of time and present something, and
to sort of come together around something as well, like, which is difficult to explain. And yet we still manage to stay with it long enough for the performance to happen, or for the dance to happen. So that's just sort of, which is kind of, I mean, so I want to say thank you, because there's sort of an anarchic proposal in the way we have managed to come together today, in commandeering a space, but at the same time participating in something that wishes to go beyond the conventions and the order of the normative way dance is structured, and that our lives are structured. To have a dance floor in these public spaces, it's quite specific in that we took the advantage to sort of do this. And then for this podcast, which has a sort of like loose mandate around it, of just gathering, and I think that's something that I really want to pay homage to, at least, or to speak about maybe a little bit, but just how precious it was to to dance with you. And I asked you, I think off record, if we were to dance together. And you spoke about no, it's not relational in a clear way, and yet it was for me. It was extremely beautiful to be in the presence of you dancing, and to have that confidence as well that I can do this with you. If I was doing it alone, I think it would feel very different. So it was very privileging to come together, and it's from a quartet as well, which must have as well a specific dynamic and blessing maybe, or motivation that is caused by sharing a space with so many people, even if just for the warm-up. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was really a pleasure to dance with you.
And I think something that comes up in these I feel like I notice this all the time in improvising and dancing and making stuff, is like there's something about trust that is so interesting. It's like, you know, we haven't seen each other for I don't know, 17 years or whatever it is. We're going into sort of semi-public space, and just the feeling of like not kind of working to create trust, but just sort of the fact that it's just there is so interesting, and I think I really appreciate that feeling.
I am equally grateful, because I mean it was a long time ago, and it was my first job. And I was very young, so the memory of it is also sort of contorted and strange, and yet extremely important to me. And there's a reclamation a little bit, returning to the UK and meeting people like yourself, and the brilliance that I got to encounter at such a young and pivotal point of my time with dance. So I'd like to ask how people can get in contact with you and your work. I know we talked about the quartet, so that's coming out this spring. You're also performing in Belgium, am I right?
I'm performing
with Utrecht, Avignon, so that's in France, is it?
That's in France.
That's with Forced Entertainment.
So I'm performing, touring with Forced Entertainment. We're in Berlin next week.
That's it, yes.
And then Utrecht. And
it might not get out
France.
Before Berlin, so people have missed you, but maybe they'll remember you. That would be nice.
And then I'm performing, solo improvisation in Brussels in
that's
June, I think. And then, this last quartet will be on in September. In London, and I think tickets are on sale from May or June. I can't remember.
Fantastic.
But,
and you have your website, which I will link all these things, of course, and you're on Instagram as well. You're doing that's the solo. I think I've seen you at. What's the place called in Brussels?
Oh, Tic Tac.
Yes. Beautiful dance. So if people are there, they must meet you.
It's a great space.
And on the corner.
So that we didn't even talk about. That's next year.
Right.
So it's a whole other kettle of fish.
So if they don't catch you this year,
I'll be around next year.
Which is it Miles Davis?
So that's a piece set to or I don't know if set to is the right word, but it's I guess it is set to an album called On the Corner by Miles Davis, and that'll be on in 2027.
And is this the one that's more choreographed?
I think so. Anyway, in theory, we'll see.
It's a long way away.
Anything could happen, but come and see some of those things.
Absolutely. And you're such a lovely person, and I hope that I don't leave it as long as I've left it this time to get in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.